Welcome back to another episode of SAMOHILIGHTS. I'm Jalen Morales.
And I'm Alfie Merritt. Visiting us tonight are representatives from the Santa Monica Education Foundation, the Heifer Club, SAMOHI's Marching Band, the Red Cross Club, and journalism.
Looks like we're in for an interesting show. Stay tuned and we'll be right back.
Our first guest tonight is Rachel Falkner from the Santa Monica Malibu Education Foundation. Rachel, thank you for coming.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
No problem. So, what do you do for the Education Foundation here in Santa Monica?
So I am the Associate Director of the Education Foundation and oversee operations and manage staff and oversee the events and communications. But we have a staff of 5 full-time staff members and 1 part-time. So we have an Executive Director who oversees everything and focuses on major gifts. We have a Director of Major Gifts, and she focuses on soliciting gifts of $5,000 or more. We also have a Director of Annual and Leadership Gifts, and she works closely with all of our schools and their PTA leaders and principals, making sure that families know about our fundraising efforts and engaging our families in this, as parents are usually the most invested in their children's education. We have a wonderful marketing and events coordinator, and we also have a part-time database associate. So between the 5.5 of us, we are tasked with raising $4 million every year to support all the students in our school district.
What did you hope to accomplish this year?
Well, we hope to raise $4 million. That's priority number 1. But in doing so, we hope to educate our families in terms of making sure they understand what they know what their money is going to support in terms of the programs that are offered through the Vision for Student Success. Those are the programs that are costing $4 million annually to run in all of our 16 schools. So that's most important, is really communicating our message, making sure people really understand why we're asking them for money and making them feel very invested in the students and their programs.
What type of events does the Education Foundation host?
We currently we are part of 3 events. We just had Run Fest, which was a 5K, 10K race. We're actually the beneficiary of that race. It's run by a company called Generic Events. And as the beneficiary, we get money from every participant who signs up. But we also are able to give high school sports teams and clubs the opportunity to raise money. So collectively, Samo High and Malibu High students, through clubs and teams, raised over $71,000 through the race. We also host a For the Arts benefit concert, which takes place every year at Samo High's Barnum Hall. It's where we bring big name artists like Billy Idol and David Crosby and others to perform, and they're supported by our Samo High, Olympic High, and Malibu High students through orchestra, choir, and guitar. It's an incredible event, and it's raised almost $1 million to support arts programs in the district over the last 10 years. And our other major event is called Pier Party, which takes place on the Santa Monica Pier at Pacific Park, and we rent out the park. It's a private event, and it's fun for all ages. And last year was our first year, and we raised about $124,000.
Oh, wow. So, what challenge does the Education Foundation face today?
Well, we have a number of challenges, mostly in making sure that parents and students and teachers know who we are. We've been around for 32 years, but only since 2012 have we been responsible for raising $4 million every year. So we've had 2 full campaigns. And in the past, we raised about $500,000 every year, and we supported a lot of programs, and we raised a lot of money through our arts endowment and athletic endowment, or excuse me, our academic endowment. But we not necessarily were known by all of the families in the community. So as we start to raise a significant amount of money, we want to make sure that we are known by our constituents, our families, and our students, and that we make more, develop more relationships with corporate partners and other community members, because we have a lot of money to raise. So,
How did you get involved with the Education Foundation?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Well, my husband's job moved us to California about 4 years ago, and I've always worked in education. I worked for DC Public Schools, and before that I worked for the English version of Teach for America in London, where I worked with about 250 teachers placed in the 2-year program. So education and public education particularly have been always really important to me. And so when I moved to this area, I was fortunate enough to find that the Santa Monica Malibu Education Foundation was hiring, and joined this incredible community.
So what impact does the Education Foundation have on students?
Well, we have impact in the areas of a lot of academic areas, arts and athletics. We currently through the Vision for Student Success programs, we provide literacy coaches at the elementary school, which means that every single student in our elementary schools are impacted by reading support, whether or not they're challenged readers or if they're advanced. Everyone's getting literacy support as they need through these literacy coaches working with the teachers. There's an expanded arts programs in our elementary schools now, which means that from K through 12, our students have the opportunity to take part in an incredible arts program. I think that's one of the strongest areas in our district, and the Ed Foundation is really proud to support that. In addition, we do give visual arts grants to all of the Samo High and Malibu High teachers, as well as the middle school teachers here, and support the theater program. So arts is something that's near and dear to our hearts, and we realize what a huge component that is to other academic learning. We also give extra money for Samo High to have additional teaching periods, and we give a lot of money to train teachers so that teachers are constantly getting trained in and are at the forefront of best practices so that they know how to work with students to meet their individual learning needs. So we're excited that we are able, through the Vision for Student Success, to hopefully have a touch point to every single student, all 11,500 students in our district.
Is there anything we as students could do to help the Education Foundation?
Oh, that's a great question. Yes, there are many ways. Just by knowing about the Education Foundation and learning more about it and its impact on you is great, and great to spread the word and to talk to your families about it. You can also ask your families if they feel compelled to donate. No amount is too little. We are very grateful for donations of any size. I know Olympic high school students are getting involved, and many of them are giving, and if that's something that's that feels right to Samo High students, we would be very appreciative. Or if there are clubs that want to fundraise for the Ed Foundation, we would be very, very grateful. But I think just knowing about us too is really is helpful for us.
Why don't we take a look? Rachel, thanks so much for coming and speaking with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with more SAMO highlights after this short break.
We'd now like to welcome Francesca Muir from SAMOHILIGHTS Marching Band.
Thank you both so much for joining us.
Thank you.
What instruments do you both play?
I play the clarinet.
And I'm actually the drum major, which means that I conduct.
How long have you both been playing?
Well, I've been playing clarinet for about 10 years now, but I've been playing in the marching band for 3.
And I used to play flute in marching band before I became drum major, which I'd been doing since 4th grade, but now that I just conduct, I don't play flute in marching band anymore.
Do you enjoy the music that you play in band?
Yeah, this year is especially fun. We're having a really cool show this year that we're performing, and so it's a lot of old music and jazz and stuff like that.
Are there any songs that you wish the band would play?
Well, we play at football games, so we play a lot of like pop songs. We're always looking to expand our repertoire of music that we play for the fans. So I guess in that sense, we're always looking for new songs.
Are you a part of anything outside of band?
Yeah, I do theater outside of school. I work at the Santa Monica Playhouse doing theater there, and orchestra and concert band as well.
Yeah, I'm also in music, different music, orchestra, and I'm the editor-in-chief of the newspaper.
Band recently did Beatles at Barnum. Were you both a part of that?
Yeah, we're both in the symphony orchestra, and we performed there.
Yeah, Beatles at Barnum is actually a fundraiser for the orchestra program, so we're both in orchestra, and yeah, we both participated in that.
And how did that go?
It was actually really good. It was a very successful fundraiser, and we raised a lot of money for the orchestra program, which is great because we're touring this year and next year. So.
We very much appreciate you guys being here today with us. It's very fun having you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
having us.
And we'll be right back with the representatives from the Red Cross Club. Joining us next are Damian Radulovich and Natalie Ivanova from the Red Cross Club. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So Damien, how heavily is the Red Cross Club connected with the American Red Cross?
We're extremely connected. We're part of the actual organization itself, and the club is sort of just the organization's presence on our school campus. So everyone who's involved on the school campus and in the school's club is also involved directly with the organization. So we're basically a portal between the school and the organization with volunteers.
And if I'm not mistaken, there was just a blood drive. So how successful is that, Natalie?
Correct. We just had a blood drive recently. We partnered with ASB, and it was very successful. We are thankful to all the students who came, and we are in the process of planning a new one, possibly for January.
Damien, do you have any ideas of what you guys are going to do next?
We have a lot of plans for this year. We have a lot of sort of safety plans we have, including like sessions where we teach kids about earthquake awareness. We do something called fire canvassing, where we go around neighborhoods and tell people sort of how to keep themselves safe from house fires. We want to plan CPR classes, get kids at school certified for CPR and first aid, and hopefully another blood drive.
Natalie, has the club had any impact outside of SAMOHI?
We have a huge impact outside of SAMOHI. So what we do in the club at our school is we gather members and we bring them to our chapter, which is where we have different trainings. As Damien mentioned, we have our puppet show training, and we have this thing called Project Pillowcase. And so for the puppet show, we take a group of about 7 volunteers. Each person gets to be a puppet from Sesame Street. So I was Elmo at the last puppet show. And after we go through the training, we get to go to an elementary school or a preschool and present our puppet show to the kids.
And what do you hope to achieve this year?
Our real hope is to get even more members involved and really make a difference. The last few years, our memberships our members have kind of declined in number, but we're really hoping to bring it back this year, and we're putting a ton of effort into making sure that as many people can be involved with the organization as possible.
How big of a commitment must each member make?
It's really not. It's however committed you want to be. I mean, me and Natalie have officer positions. We're heavily involved. We do a lot of planning, and we're really involved both with the organization and the school. But if people want to come in and do a couple activities a year, they're more than welcome. If people want to come in and do every activity possible and dedicate like all of their free time to the organization, they absolutely can. So it's however much you want to do.
Thank you both for coming tonight. It's very nice meeting
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Nice hearing about what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll return shortly with more SAMO highlights. Jack Graham from the Heifer Club is joining us tonight.
But before we meet with him, let's take a look at what the Heifer Club has to offer. Jack, thank you for coming today.
Oh, you're welcome.
So, what does the Heifer Club do?
Well, basically we're a group of people that came together really for the common goal of helping out those in need. And what we do is we raise money, and we're part of a national organization, the Heifer Club. We're a chapter in Santa Monica, and what we do is we raise money to give farmers in Africa cows and chickens, and we teach them how to farm sustainably and really just improve life for them overall.
Is it all random, or do you work with specific people?
Well, as vice president, I deal mostly with the organization, which is a lot of people, in their 20s and 30s suits, and it's fun just to see how far what we can do is. We're just kids, but we're helping out real people, making impact in real lives, and I think that's really great.
So, how long have you been a member?
I actually joined last year, halfway through last year, and we didn't have many people when we first started, but we've actually really grown. Like, we fill up the classroom we hold our meetings in now, and we're really improving every single day.
What made you want to join the club?
Well, I actually knew my friend who started the club, and I never really thought, like, farmers in Africa, like, what does that have to do with me? But when I actually, got to talk with them, I realized, like, wow, this is actually something I can get behind,
Right. So, I assume you fundraise quite often. Do your efforts usually work out?
Yeah, we've actually had a lot of bake sales in the past, and surprisingly, we just tell people, hey, we tell them what we're about, and overall last year we raised $620, which is a good amount, and they tell us what our money goes to, and they show like bios about the farmers. And they show us pictures of like their farms and the cows that we give. So we're all pretty happy with what we do.
Tell us about a project or accomplishment that your club is proud of.
I would say our very favorite is a small farm in West Kenya, and they actually started off. They had 1 cow, I believe, and solely based on our funding, they now have 7 cows, and they learned how to farm in a better way so that they yield much more every year from the harvest.
Are you satisfied with the club's progress?
Yeah, and definitely we're meeting all of our goals, so we can have a larger role. And the Santa Monica chapter is actually one of the best in the whole country. Yeah.
Well, it's been so great having you here. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Stay tuned. We'll be back very shortly. Joining us for journalism is Bianca Gonzalez. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Hi. So Bianca, is journalism something that you'd like to pursue as a career?
Yes, definitely. Ever since I was in 3rd grade, after attending a television segment on Univision, I just became fascinated with the idea of becoming a journalist, and just the idea of getting to talk to people and hearing from their different experiences. It's great.
So you're responsible for publishing the Samohi newspaper, right?
Yes, we work as our staff, so it's great.
How intense are the deadlines?
Yes, that's a huge deal. We like to stay on deadline. We usually have weekly deadlines, but it can vary from 2 days, 1 day, and then sometimes editors might decide last minute changes and everything. And so it definitely takes a lot of flexibility with the staff writers, and editors also have to be on top of the page layouts and everything. But we try to stay, on deadline, yeah.
Is censorship ever a problem with the writers or the artists?
No, I don't think so. We do have a policy of trying to get making sure that we get the quotes down correctly. So that is something that we enforce and everything. But other than that, yeah.
So how difficult is it to come up with topics for the newspaper?
It's not. Kind of, a little bit. It's a little difficult. But, if you just keep your ears and eyes open, you'll find with Samo, come on, there's always something to write about. So, yeah.
We may have covered this a little, but what got you interested in journalism?
I don't know. I think that ever since I was little, I just really liked writing and talking a lot. So definitely that.
Have big newspapers like the LA Times shaped or influenced your publications at all?
We take a little bit of designs and stuff, but other than that, no, not really. Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time out of your day to come see us today.
Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
This is Samo Highlights, and we'll be right back.